All right, so let's talk about reputation now. So reputation is very different than trust, although some people use it interchangeably. What reputation means is, what have you done in the past? Either your own behavior or how you treated, how has your company treated past potential and realized clients? What have you done in the past? Whereas trust is, what do I expect you'll do in the future? So we'll talk about reputation here. So reputation is one of those tricky things, right? If you are a new entrepreneur, if you just started your idea, you might not have a lot of reputation built, because reputation shows up in things like reviews for your product on different sites, or social media posts where people talk about your product, or people talk about how they interact with you. It's something that comes by default as your business exists, but you don't actually have to have reputation within the problem that you're trying to solve. You can take reputation based on other things that you've done. That's why when a new hire, a CEO is hired for a company, they won't say what they did at that company because they're new. They'll say, this is the person who did this and this and this at another company. This is the person who wrote this book. This is the person who was on this TV show, because they're carrying the reputation of what they did in other things into what they're doing, right? The reputation follows you. And when you're first starting a business, or if you're the head of a business, or a public figure in the business, what you've done in other things, in other areas in your past, adds to the reputation of what you're doing. So if you did well inside of your in a previous job, you can say, well, I was the reason why this or that campaign was successful, and so it makes it more likely you might be able to do it here. And any youngster, any teenager, get out of school, get out of high school, get out of college, and they're going to start a new job, they face this dilemma, right? They face this dilemma where they have no portfolio of what they've done. They really don't have any history. Sometimes they can bring up things they've done in school, but if they don't do that, well, what do you need to do? What you need to do then is do a bunch of free things, right? You got to do a bunch of free things or low-cost things to show that you can actually complete a task. Right? That's the most important thing about school. That's the most important thing about reputation, that you can actually do the thing with some measure of quality, and then have people encourage people to talk about that. So reputation is extremely important, because what I found with dealing with companies is that they are very short. Not mean in a mean way, but they don't really put a lot of effort into cultivating the relationship with their existing clients or past clients, right? Once they get the sale, they're generally done with that, right? Once they get the subscriber, they're looking for the next one. If they have a listener for their podcast, they're looking for the next listener because they want the number to go up. And I tell people that's not what you want to focus on. If you focus on the actual people that already consume your product, service, or information, if you really show attention to them, because first you're trying to understand in the value that you offer, you're trying to understand, is there anything more of this problem that they didn't get, and they're going to have a perspective that you might not necessarily have, so you're reminding them for that information, and you're showing them that you care about what they say, you care about how what you did affected their lives, or how it solved their problem. Well, as you interact with them continuously, not annoying them, but continuously over time, you will find that you can actually generate more substantial reputation. And we've all had this experience. We've all had this experience where you go on a website, you're reviewing a hotel or some movie or whatever it is, and you'll see a review that's like, oh, this is great, oh, this is fantastic, oh, this was okay, and whatever, and it's 5 stars, 4 stars, or whatever, 1 star. But then you'll see certain reviews where someone wrote a dissertation for this thing, right? Someone cared so deeply about how this company affected them, either positively or negatively, that now they're going to take some time, sometimes hours, to sit down and write what they're doing. This is a type of reputation building that you cannot buy. It comes as a byproduct of focusing or caring about the experience that your past customers have had. And in a recession, this is doubly important, because people have already been burnt. The malinvestment and the bad companies are exposed. People see how they've been hurt in the past, and they're more cautious, and they want to know that where they're going to spend their now more limited capital, more limited time, more limited resources, that they're not going to get burned again, because now they're going to be far more angry or upset, or cantankerous if things don't turn, if you don't live up to the promise that you're delivering. So one of the ways to really succeed with a reputation, and this comes in the same vein as value as well, is that you want to under promise and over deliver. We've all heard this. You want to under promise or over deliver. People are very used to the opposite. You think to yourself, you got to be as bombastic as you can, as boisterous as you can, to really sell this thing, because why would anyone else take your product, service, information if you're not telling them it's the best, the be all and end all of what you're doing? But if you under promise and over deliver, what happens is that you might have less customers to begin with. You might have less listeners, you might have less viewers, but what happens is that those people, the experience that they have of you solving the problem will be so far above their expectation that they won't be able to help but tell other people about it. Right? They won't be able to help but write the review. They won't be able to help but talk to other people about it. This is an interesting thing, that you spend actually less time and effort and resources making sure that past people are happy with what you're doing. You spend less time than acquiring a new person, but if you do that well, they'll acquire 10 new people for you. It's very interesting.
Can you say that again, just to make it clear? It's interesting.
You might think it's a waste of time to spend a lot of time talking and making sure that your past clients are happy, but because you might think it's better to get the next client, you want to get your numbers up. But if you make the people who are already your clients, who have already taken advantage of your offer, if you underpromised and over-delivered and really spend time mining them for information about how you can make your product better and making sure that they had a great experience with you, it actually costs less in time, effort, and money. It costs less, but will generate you far more returns in actual new people. You might spend $20 worth, you might spend $20 in order to get 30 new people to your website or your podcast or your Etsy page or whatever it is. You might spend $30 you might spend $30 in order to get $20 in order to get 30 people. But if you spend that $20 in time and effort into a past client, when they talk about your product, service, or information to someone else who also has the same problem that you're solving, they will be so much more convincing that you basically guarantee a conversion. You basically guarantee that that new person becomes a client of yours. Right? We all know this. If someone saw a movie, or they listened to a podcast, or they bought a product, or they went to a resort, or whatever it is, and they're thrilled about it, right? It exceeded their expectation, right? Because the person under-promised and over-delivered, and they felt that their needs were attended to, and it mattered what they thought, and that it wasn't that they paid their thing, they did the thing that the company wanted, and now they might as well be gone. We all know that experience where the other person is so convincing when they tell you about this thing, you go, well, I got to check this out. I got to just check this out. So that's the reputation vein. There's all kinds of tactics that are involved in that, and you'll see that in future videos.